Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching accesstv.org.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Challenge, and today we like we do every week, we get someone local, someone that's doing stuff outside of what we've been scripted into as a race. So the African American community, it's just filled with a lot of dynamic people that do a lot of different things. And today, I think the last show we had a first too. Today, so we have another first. So I'm just finding out that Hartford is filled with a lot of special people, and I'm just glad to be a part of introducing these people to the community. So without further ado, this is a different introduction because I'm not going to say the person's name. I'm just going to let him do what he does, and then you guys can enjoy it, and then we'll get into our interview. So go ahead. Was, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kevin Palmer, a local musician. And how are you doing today, Kevin?
I'm doing good.
All right. So you got that instrument, and when I was in school, I had a professor that said that if you can learn how to play an instrument, he also said learn how to speak a second language. So just listening to you, it sounds like you've been playing for a while. How long have you been playing for?
I'm playing about 16 years since I was about 9. I picked it up.
All right. Now, was that at 9 years old? Was that something? Because that's that part of your life where you're trying to figure out your interests. So you moved towards music. Is that something that you were encouraged to do, or you just on your own wanted to learn how to play?
A few years before that, when I was about 6 or 7, I was in the car with my mom. We used to always drive back and forth from Bloomfield, where we lived, to Hartford, where my grandparents lived. My parents moved from there a year before I was born. They moved to Bloomfield. So
okay.
We still had our grandparents in Hartford, so I remember driving there, listening to the radio, being in the car all the time with my mom, and I would hear different radio stations playing different types of music. And I remember always being able to pick out the saxophone.
Oh, okay.
And I like the sound of that, and I asked my mom one time, I want to play that one day. And then one day, on my birthday, she had bought me one without me really knowing.
Okay. So you get this thing, you don't just pick it up and play. So and one of the things I like about musicians that I always admired about anybody that can play an instrument, it takes a great deal of practice. So when you get the instrument and you had to take lessons, or because we got young people in our audience too that aspire to do and be some of the things that the guests on this show do. So if I'm a young person, I'm interested in playing the instrument. Do I take lessons, or how do I begin that journey?
Well, we had a piano in our house.
Okay.
And pretty much everyone in my house took lessons for a little bit.
Okay.
But we went to the Artist Collective.
That's here in Hartford, right?
Yeah, my older brother, two of my older brothers, one of my older sister, she took lessons there. and they're all older than me. So it's like I knew I wanted to do it too. So I started taking piano lessons before I picked up the saxophone, and then yeah. So I got signed up for lessons there.
That's when I asked you. So you had a piano in your house. So did your mom or dad, did either one of them play?
My dad played around on it, but he didn't really stick with it.
Okay.
So he wasn't really a piano player.
But they invested in it though, right?
I think it was there when they bought the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes life turns out that way. Now, do you play? You said you took lessons.
Yeah, so I was taking piano lessons, and so I already knew I liked learning music. So that's where I knew I had an option of playing the saxophone, but I didn't really know I was gonna get one. But
So when you started taking lessons, piano lessons, how old were you?
about 6 or 7, like 7.
Okay, and as a 6 or 7-year-old, do you like it? Because there's always that balance of is the person playing it because their mom and dad had say to play it, or were you you think you were loving music at that young age?
I wasn't like a great piano player,
Mm-hmm.
but it was always there in the house to mess around with. So I used to go, play around with it, hear the radio, try to play what I hear,
Right.
stuff like that. But yeah, the piano helped.
Now, when you were in school, you said you grew up in Bloomfield. So did you play in school, or were you in the band, or did you take music?
Yeah, when I was in about 4th grade, I was taking lessons already on the saxophone. So
okay.
They didn't start band there. But when I went to the band in Carmen Race in 5th grade, the band teacher let me go in the 6th grade band because I was already playing, as all the other kids were just starting. So they were in the 5th grade band, but I was playing in the 6th grade band at that time.
All right.
But I played through middle school and the school band, and then high school, I started playing in that band too with Dr. Rowe. That was the first year he started going there. And
who's Dr. Rhodes? If you could.
he's the music instructor at Bloomfield High School.
Okay.
That was his first year. The first year I started going there, and he's still there now. And yeah, he's the one who asked me to play the tenor because he needed a tenor. I played the alto at the time, but then I really started liking the tenor when I started playing there.
So what's the difference? Because I know a little bit about it, but my audience might not know. So you have the tenor and the alto. They're both saxophones.
Yeah.
One is what?
The alto it's called an E flat instrument. Like it's tuned to E flat, and the tenor is tuned to B flat.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell the difference between the alto and the tenor with the size. The alto is like little like half the size of the tenor. It's smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and the tenor is like longer and taller.
Right.
One of my other great influences, the person who created the Artist Collective, Jackie McLean.
Mm-hmm.
He played the alto, and like he was a great influence because when I started playing, sometimes at the Artist Collective, I would hear him playing, and he had a really big sound.
Okay.
So I kind of seen where I could go with it. Like I seen like what the best sounds like. So I was like, yeah, that's like the top level.
Now, one of the things that I always say, like everybody that we interview on the show, there's an evolution to their success, meaning that you don't end up, or I guess the better way to put it is you always start at the beginning. You can't end up at the end being a musician. So when you start out and when you're learning the craft, how difficult is it? I mean, is it like really horrible, or is it like, like before you start to say, I could really do this, I'm kind of all right at this thing right here.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, at first you're not really, it takes a little while to get used to it, but you got to be in like a consistent place with it weekly, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a lesson every week. So
How long is the lesson?
Lesson is half hour.
Okay.
And they tell you to practice every day.
Okay. So that you got to do on your own. Because I always, I feel that any success, if you talk to someone, there's a lot of discipline within that. So a half an hour a week is not enough. So how much time does one have to put in to be good at that craft?
4 hours a day is a good number.
Okay.
But yeah, the way you practice helps a lot too.
What do you mean by that?
You should always be working on something that you're not the best at. Like, you should never practice to please anybody's ear that's around. Like,
Okay.
you're playing what you know already.
Mm-hmm.
You should practice what you don't know, so it's like you're getting better.
Now I know with some musicians, how much of the craft is like classroom, meaning like learning how to read music and knowing the history of music, or is it just that you give someone an instrument, they just practice and play? Is the other part of it, the academic part of learning the instrument, how important do you think that is in one's development?
The academic part, that'll give you a good grounding to let you know. Pretty much with jazz, you really don't need it. Like, if you go out somewhere and you get sheet music and you got to play it on the spot, then you're gonna have to know how to read it,
Right.
which is a good thing. But as far as improvising, you really could just listen to your favorite musicians and kind of learn what they play, learn how they play it from them,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as you're playing stuff you don't know and you're memorizing stuff, then you can get better.
So what I'm hearing is part of the craft is when you listen, I guess on a professional level, is that, so if I'm listening to music and I go to say somewhere like Black Eyed Sally's or down to the jazz festival, I'm just like, oh, this sounds good. But as a musician, you can't really enjoy it like that, huh? Because you're kind of listening to what they're playing and.
Yeah, when you're listening to people, you could sit back and just enjoy what they're playing.
But do you know what it is, or is it because I listen to people, they be like, oh, that's so and so, and I'm like, I don't know, that just sounds good.
Yeah, that they're following probably chord changes, so you probably know the song already, but what they're playing is really personal to them, so it's not that you understand, you know exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
You can enjoy it still.
Now let me ask you this, because you start on the band, that's like a person is young, so you're just a young person, but as you grow older, I guess you become more conscious of the people when you're playing. What is that feeling like because if you go to a concert or music or any type of performance, everybody's focused in on the person on stage. So what is that like as far as being able to kind of like do your thing, but also not get worried about the crowd? Because I've seen people do interviews where they say they get on stage and they get real nervous, and where you fit in that?
That's all about being prepared. Like really when you get into it, like you're so in tune with what you're playing,
Mm-hmm.
that it's really no time to be like nervous of the crowd and stuff.
Right.
And with jazz, it's really enjoyable when you're playing. So I don't think there's much time to get nervous.
Have you played in front of like large crowds or?
With the Artist Collective, by the time when I was about 12, they invited me to play in their youth jazz orchestra.
Okay.
So they were like teenagers that played it was like a jazz band there.
Okay. Where did you guys play all over the state or?
And yeah, like every couple of weeks they would have different performances for us to go out to.
Okay.
So we play in pretty much around places in Connecticut.
What's the biggest place y'all played in?
I would say when Bill Clinton came to visit the Artist Collective on Avenue Ave.
Oh, Bill Clinton was on the Avenue?
Yeah, he came to visit, and then we played for him up there.
Okay. Did you get to meet him?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we got to meet him.
How was that experience?
That was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I think what happens when you get into different things, you never know where it's going to lead. I want to thank you for coming in today, Kevin. You know, your music and your story of how to become a musician and how that's affected you in life is phenomenal. So thank you for coming in.
All right, thanks.